democracy works when both parties are strong and bring middle to the center ideas forward. That's how you win the presidency.
In this clip, we'll witness Kevin O'Leary being put in his place by the ex-mayor of New York, all because he's attempting to slight Zohran Mamdani. As always, we'll view the entire video, and I'll share my opinions towards the conclusion.
So Kevin, you're a doom monger, painting an apocalyptic picture, which many people have done over the years, that never materializes.
No, I'm not a doom monger. I'm just dealing with facts. What's the highest tax rate you can possibly get in the United States of America? New York City. Where is the lowest value for your taxes? New York City. And in terms of being the only place on earth where capital is flowing to, au contraire, mes amis, let's go to Abu Dhabi, let's go to Doha, let's go to London, England, let's go to Switzerland and Zurich, where all the competition's occurring. New York is not the only place you can put money to work. And look, I love New York City. I have family there. I choose not to live there. I choose not to pay taxes there. I choose to see the Rockettes. And just think about what this means when people sail up the Hudson years and years, decades ago, to be free from abusive taxation, only to find her there in the most heavily taxed, most difficult policy, most anti-business environment in the United States. That is not the American dream. The Statue of Liberty represents the American dream, and now she's dealing with the American nightmare in terms of policy. I am not the only person that feels this way. I am not a doom monger, but I'm saying watch out, New York. There's plenty of competition domestically in states like Texas and Florida, and internationally as we digitize the economy. I would be very concerned if I were in New York City watching this kind of policy. I have no qualm about the success this politician's had. He's played it perfectly, but there's a cost to bad policy. I don't make money with politicians. I don't care. They come and go. This guy's going to be gone soon too. But the slow erosion of the competitiveness of New York State and New York City is evident to capital from all around the world. And I'm just one voice pointing it out. I don't see doom. I'm going back to New York next week. I love it. I'll make damn sure I'm not there 6 months in a day, though.
Kevin, just quickly on the question of the fact that he's a Muslim, it does seem to have brought out the worst in certain people, talking about 9/11 and all this kind of thing. And yet, as I was talking to Bill earlier, it was very striking that in the stampede of young people who raced to vote for Mamdani, many of them were young Jewish people. So they clearly don't have any problem with him being a Muslim. What do you make of the attention around his religion?
Listen, I believe one of the reasons America's so successful is we allow every religion. You can pray to any God you wish, and that's so valuable. You only realize how much you want that when you go to a place where you can't do it. But I don't, look, he can be any religion he wants. It's his policy I care about. And I have lots of Muslim friends and lots of Muslims working for me. I respect that religion. I really do, as I do the Jewish religion, as I do the Catholic religion, of which I'm a member, Irish Catholic. It doesn't get any tougher than that. And so, to me, that is not what we're talking about here. It may have some resonance in terms of people's concern, or if there's some way don't like him because of it, that's just wrong. That's un-American. But the policy is not right. And so I'm probably going to have to deal with this mayor at some point. I will tell him how I feel about his policies and why he should think about them a little bit more. Because I like to bring the generalist view, the competitive view. I invest all around the world and I represent economies everywhere. And I think that's important. I do not want to see the city where my daughter lives turn into, I don't know, Los Angeles. I mean, that's a pretty bad place.
Okay.
That's another example of bad policy.
All right, Bill.
Yeah, well, first of all, the folks who came up the Hudson River long ago were seeking religious freedom, not freedom from taxation. And I want to say, picking up, and I thought Kevin was very heartfelt, and I agree with him on the beauty of a society, the necessity of a society that allows for all religions and beliefs. New York City is the exemplar of that, which is why we have attracted the greatest talent from all over the world. And this is the X factor. I'm not saying there aren't other places to invest. I understand that. But what we have that is absolutely beyond compare, the greatest pool of talent, certainly anywhere in the country, I would say anywhere in the world, because people are attracted to the culture, to the vibrancy, to the entrepreneurship, to the creativity, and that has not changed one iota, regardless of every crisis. In fact, COVID, great example, we faced an incredible crisis. The city came together, we showed our strength and resiliency. It made people believe in us more. Point one. Point two, Kevin, with all due respect, the value proposition when you pay your taxes in New York City, the finest police force on earth, the finest firefighters on earth, the finest health department on earth, when you saw how the health apparatus of this city fought back against COVID, and we went from epicenter to a place that was highly vaccinated and one of health-wise, one of the safest places in the country in less than a year. The capacity of the public service of New York City to serve people is extraordinary, unparalleled. Yes, it costs money, there's no doubt, but the product is there. I will guarantee you what the NYPD does every day, worth its weight in gold, worth every tax dollar you spend.
Bill, let me ask you.
So I think, please.
I'm going to make a point. If Mamdani is the great hope now for the Democrats, and he's going to, transform New York and so on, why has the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, held back from endorsing him? If he's this good, why are senior Democrats not piling in?
Yeah, I think that's a huge mistake. I have a lot of respect for Hakeem Jeffries. I know him well. I think it's a mistake because here we have someone, now the full count of the primary is in. He won 56% of the vote against a former governor, 100% known to the people of this city, obviously someone with many scandals too. But the point is there was intense competition. And Mamdani won 56% of the vote in the Democratic primary in a city that is 6-1 Democratic registration. So I think it's time for Democratic leaders to recognize not only did he win fair and square, he's saying the things that people care about, and he's not saying them insincerely. He's saying them from the heart. It's all about affordability. If Democrats in 2024 had run a campaign closer to Mamdani's campaign, we could have beaten Donald Trump. It's as simple as that. We would have the House of Representatives right now if we spoke as relentlessly about the cost of living and what we were going to do about it. And if we were out with the people and connected to the people, not fancy concerts with celebrities, but actually connecting to the people. So I think all Democrats should recognize, here's someone who has actually shown us what our roots are. This is the Democratic Party of FDR and Truman and Kennedy and Johnson coming to life again in this time. And that is the party that had the big tent coalition, that had working people of all different ethnicities. I think Zohran has actually done a favor to the mainstream Democratic Party to remind us what actually works and what people actually care about.
Kevin?
No, I don't agree. I think he's far too extreme to get a platform that could compete with the Republicans. And I'm very concerned about this. I think democracy works when both parties are strong and bring middle to the center ideas forward. That's how you win the presidency. And I don't think getting this far stretched in any direction, in this case, claims of communism and socialism and redistribution of wealth, these are not platforms that are going to work everywhere in America, because this is not what the American dream's about. The American dream is the #1 export of America. It's not energy or technology. People come here for religious freedom, for the ability to support their families, to be entrepreneurial. I mean, that's what it's all about. And some of the messaging he's putting out doesn't fit with that. And, to the former mayor, I would say I totally agree with him. NYPD is one of the finest forces on earth, and the way they deal with it. Same with the state troopers. I support them too. And why? Because in order to have entrepreneurship, in order to start a 1,200 square foot hardware store, you need the police. Those are my people. I support American entrepreneurship. 5 to 500 employee companies is my base. I support them. That's what I do in every state. Job creation and law is bipartisan. You can't have a business operating without good security, good police work at the street level, at the state level, at the municipal level, everywhere. And New York has the finest. There's no question about it. But the policy itself, you can't tell me it can't be improved. New York should remain the #1 epicenter of capital on earth. But it won't be with these policies because there's too much competition that is much easier to work with, particularly on permitting, for real estate or permitting for AI or data centers or some of these new technologies. I am evidence of that. I'm just one of these people doing it all over the world. And I'm telling you, New York is not open for business in this very important area. And I'm one of the only people willing to speak out about it because I want New York to be fixed. I want it to win, but not with this kind of policy.
Bill de Blasio,
Honestly wild to me how the right keeps leaning on the outdated "he's a communist" trope to take down Zohran Mamdani. Let's be honest, they know he's not a communist, nor is he some authoritarian looking to undermine America from within. Yet, they toss the term around because it serves as a convenient scare tactic. It's a lazy political move, the same one they've been using since the Cold War era. By labeling someone communist or socialist, they think they can bypass actually addressing what that person stands for. And it's not just the communist label being thrown his way. Mamdani has faced Islamophobic and racist attacks, being called a jihadist, a terrorist supporter, or a sympathizer of Hamas. None of this is grounded in reality or policy. It's about manipulating identity to instill fear. And it's not only the Republicans doing it. Some establishment Democrats who feel threatened by Mamdani's ascent have also resorted to these distasteful tactics. It's a smear campaign disguised as commentary. In this specific clip, Kevin O'Leary pretends he's being practical, but in truth, he's doing the same thing, portraying Mamdani's ideas as too extreme, too radical, and anti-American. But let's be honest about what's really unsettling Kevin O'Leary. Mamdani has been very clear. He challenges the unchecked power of billionaires. He openly supports the idea that billionaires shouldn't exist. Do you think someone like Kevin O'Leary, who's built a career on championing capitalism and benefiting from inequality, would sit back and let that slide? No way. As soon as you question whether figures like him should accumulate excessive wealth while ordinary families struggle to pay rent, you're branded a communist. Now, am I personally advocating for the no billionaires stance? That's a discussion worth having, but I understand the logic behind it. Look at our world. People work full-time, sometimes double shifts, yet still can't afford healthcare or groceries. They rely on food stamps or other government aid just to survive. Meanwhile, others take 5-minute private jet trips, purchase their 5th yacht, spend more on a weekend party than some families earn in a lifetime. That's not just inequality, it's a moral farce. So when Mamdani argues against the existence of billionaires, it's not a matter of success envy. It's questioning how, in such a wealthy nation like America, we permit some to accumulate unending wealth while millions struggle to afford the basics. That's what makes O'Leary and similar folks uneasy. It's not communism or socialism that worries them. It's the simple proposition that power and wealth should actually benefit the public. Also, the attacks on Mamdani aren't just false, they're perilous. Equating a Muslim politician with terrorism, calling him a supporter of Hamas or jihad, goes beyond mere politics. It places a target on his back. It sends a message to millions that this legitimate American lawmaker is somehow an enemy. Historically, this kind of rhetoric fuels political violence. It normalizes hate. It makes it permissible to threaten, harass, or even attack someone for simultaneously being Muslim and progressive in America. However, what truly matters is that Mamdani succeeded. He didn't just scrape by, he won overwhelmingly, with genuine backing from his constituency. And guess who some of his most vocal supporters are? Young Jewish voters. The very individuals who are supposed to be afraid of him, who are supposed to reject his faith, they voted for him in significant numbers. That speaks volumes. People, especially the youth, are exhausted by the smears. They're tired of being told who to fear. They focus on policy, affordability, fairness. So when Kevin O'Leary paints New York as this dystopian high-tax haven driving away capital, remember, that's his viewpoint as a wealthy investor. For him, taxes are the adversary. For working-class New Yorkers, the real threat is unaffordable rent, healthcare, and groceries. Mamdani addresses that reality. O'Leary speaks to his financial interests, and then wraps those interests in patriotism and the American dream, as if the Statue of Liberty was erected to symbolize unfettered freedom for billionaires. Spare me. So no, Mamdani is not a communist, not a jihadist, and definitely not the villain the right wing and cautious centrists wish to portray him as. He is a progressive voicing what millions of Americans believe, that the system is skewed, wealth is outrageously imbalanced, and the people deserve better. That's why they attack him, not due to any extremity, but because he's making an impact. As always, I'm eager to hear your take. Do the attacks on Mamdani reveal more about him or about the billionaires and politicians feeling threatened by him? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, hit the thumbs up for the algorithm and subscribe if you want more analyses like this. Catch you in the next one.